Hey, welcome to this episode of Happy in 15. Today's topic is from control to cooperation with your services provider. And I think this is a kind of common topic with most of our customers and most of the enterprises who are thinking about outsourcing or have outsourced their service desk. And to maybe highlight, from the words of our customer, let's hear from Wilhelmsen how they think about the topic.
We often hear of outsourcing that hasn't turned out so well, or statistics showing that in-house service desks perform better, and some companies have even insourced again following a bad experience. So today I wanted to share our journey, our experiences going from an in-house to outsourced service desk.
So Wilhelmsen actually is a really great story of how they have succeeded to actually start a really cooperation. And I think one of Marta's key things she's saying is like running the outsourced provider just like they were their own IT team. Not making any difference on that.
Yeah, and I think she's talking about even on the agent level, you have to think about they are part of your organization, not something else. And I think that's a great story about real cooperation.
Yeah, and if you want to hear the full story, just go to our Learning Center, our website, and it's there for you to listen. But hey, Sami, let's get into it. So what do you mean about control?
Yeah, and kind of in this content, the control word is quite negative. So in the history of our company, there has been a lot of customer cases that have started like customers, prospects contacting us like, we don't trust our provider.
Yeah.
They are doing things and optimizing this stuff, and we are interested in this stuff. And it has been kind of the key of starting to take back the control of the quality of IT. It's kind of, I don't even understand what is our delivery. So them being in between their own business and the provider, trying to figure out what really is the quality they are bringing. And of course, business-wise, that has been a great thing for us to be in that, but the starting point is a bit negative.
Yeah.
But moving away from that is that the positive thing is that nowadays, it's also very often the service desk providers that are starting the journey with us, with their customers.
True.
And that has been a great change. Most of them first working with our customer in that cooperation way with one or two customers, and then understanding that this really helps them as well.
Yeah.
And that is the cooperation what we are aiming to and where we are helping enterprises, and that is the thing what we are talking today.
What do you think is the root cause in all this? Like, where does it come from?
Yeah, let's move to the next slide. So I can use one. So let's use some time on this slide, even though it's a quite simple one. Let's start from the top.
Yeah.
So there we have the employee. An employee only cares about how IT is able to make them happy with the products they're using and happy with the support and efficient.
Yeah.
Business stakeholders, business directors are the ones that would need this information from IT. They are pushing IT to help me to make my team efficient.
Yeah.
And now if we start the whole thing from the bottom up and look at what is going on there, we can start to see that the head of service desk, sort of who is buying service desk from the outsourced service provider, they are in between two different needs. So service desk is reporting things like how many incidents were resolved per month. If they report this to the business stakeholder is only thinking that, okay, we again had 1,000 problems.
Yeah.
Nothing that they really would like to hear and is even interested in. But if the business stakeholder could go to the business and say, okay, this is how we made your employees this month more efficient, these are the problems they still have, and we are solving them together with the vendor. So kind of partly this is all about operational measurements that we are doing. And if we report those to the business, it just gets confusing. But you can do it differently. And I think the kind of where we have been starting to learn this one was years ago.
Yeah.
We had one customer who's at that time CIO was really coming from business side.
Yeah.
And he was not satisfied that he would be able and willing to report those traditional SLAs to the business because he came from business. He knew that what he would have wanted from IT at the time he was running the business units on that side. So he started to push this in a way that, okay, let's report how we help people and how happy they are and so on. So I think that has now been a trend, of course, in our customer base, especially, but also in the industry but it's all about making that service desk buyer the hero.
Yeah.
because those guys are challenged because they are between of, I have now made the decision to outsource everything, and then you are measuring the quality of the provider maybe in a way that it's not really what your buyers, your customers are expecting.
Yeah.
And that is causing the problem there, that of course you are from the customer side, so you end up on that side. You are not on the provider side, and then you are kind of in a situation that, okay, I don't trust these guys. So years pass with this situation, and then there is no trust anymore.
Yeah, and I heard this from our customer Alstrom Munksjö. Again, we have the case study on the site saying that when they started, they had this discussion with the business stakeholders, that the business stakeholders said that I don't feel like you care about how we do with the services, how we get our job done, because they were really measuring these old metrics and just reporting that again so many issues, and now we handle these escalations and that kind of things.
But now if we go slowly to how does this change when you start to do it on an experience way.
Yeah.
So then for all these people, partners, teams, whatever you think about in here, from employee to agent, everybody has the same main focus. The key metrics is the same, is your focus to experience. So how we help those employees. And then it's not about who shouts the most and who is the most kind of pushing the needs of them. You have enough volume, you start to understand what are kind of common issues and what are the areas. And it's then about really solving that together with the vendor. And again, starting even from the agent level. So Marte talks about a lot about how she spent a lot of time with the Indian outsourced services provider and their team, really to give them the understanding that we care about experience. And it was a huge success. But just listen to that other episode or that webinar to hear it from Marte. But that's a kind of a great example of what happens. You really start to do it together. Yeah. And I think it's, 20, 40 times it has happened that when we get the first customer, not my first customer, but first customer from a certain big services provider, they are scared. They are thinking that now the customer will be micromanaging us. 3 months, half a year, they love it because it has created a way of cooperation. Enough data means that you focus on the certain real issues together. Nobody is anymore kind of thinking that we should do this, we should that, and we should remove those services, and only on base of my own thinking. It's not data-based. But when you have experience data, you can start to do it together.
Yeah, and I think it's really good that you have on this picture the whole business side as well, the employees, the business directors, because when you tell them what you have been able to achieve, what has been the outcome of all the stuff that you have done, and not any more reporting. Now we have 1,000 less incidents, which is still like you have thousands of incidents anyway in a month. It's not so problem centric. It's about, okay, what was the outcome, what we did approve, and do you agree now based on the data when everybody can see it. And then that, like you said, creates the hero of that services person, and then the way he communicates back to the provider changes totally as well.
Yeah, it's exactly making that buyer of the service desk look really good in front of the business. It will make the service desk look good as well, and the whole delivery start to be more like, now we do it together. So kind of in this, I changed the line there to be a bit gray, meaning that there is not so much anymore. It doesn't matter on which side you are. And that's kind of a setting like some customers are thinking about, okay, we don't go there, it's their responsibility and so on, but that's kind of the big mistake from my perspective. So you have to think about it like you can never outsource the responsibility of the quality.
Yeah, I agree. But then practically, you need to start somewhere, and I think the maturity thing that we so many times give time to maturity, I think it also it's on this scenario as well.
It definitely does. So in the history of a company, there has been, I think, 2 cases where the MSP or the services provider or customer has been thinking that they don't want to share the data with the other party. And it's like those places I've been ripping my hair off, but it's then you are not really wanting to do anything. You are afraid you are too apart. So just change the provider is the only way how you act in that situation.
Yeah.
But sharing that data, giving everybody the opportunity to understand it is after the measurement is the first key. Sharing means transparency, it means trust.
Yeah.
And when you have that level done, then you can really start to do it, okay, these are the real problems in our service desk, let's solve them. Our recommendation is after that you can set the SLAs and KPIs, but if you haven't gone through these different steps, it's maybe too hard jump from the traditional SLAs directly to be mainly following the SLA way of working.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's maybe I'm having too problematic approach today and having maybe too negative, but it makes things much nicer for everybody also there, because it's then you are helping people and working together to one specific goal, much easier in the cooperation.
Agreed. But hey, then if you think about the key things now to think about, if somebody is now thinking about, first from the customer point of view, that now I'm about to outsource, or I have done it and it hasn't been working, maybe I'm changing the partner, I want to fix the relationship with the current partner, what tips would you give to the organization?
Sorry, prospects and customers, looking in the mirror is the first step. Have I really worked together with the MSP to make things work?
Yeah.
If you honestly can say that, yes, I have, and we have been working with the experience data and so on, then change the provider if that doesn't work. But on the other hand, it's the thing that remember that you cannot outsource the responsibility of the quality. And you shouldn't be thinking that I'm ordering these services from here. It's not my task to understand how they are doing and I don't want to be involved. Yes, you have to, because it's the whole thing from employee to agent that has to work. And I think those cases when there is no limits. I think we see it very often when we have our kind of quarterly meetings with our customers.
Yeah.
If it works, there is people from the outsourcing service desk provider and customer in the same meeting. Yeah. So it's not that we are only helping our customer, the direct customer, to manage or control the provider.
Yeah, or maybe find something that they can fault to the provider.
Yeah, it's kind of the attitude is like pointing problems with other delivery, helping them to resolve it would be kind of okay, maybe I'm a big pink guy, but it's anyway it's a
and I think it's like again Astro Monkshow thing, when they have like very lean own IT and they have like multiple vendors outside. If they wouldn't cooperate and have like this common focus and the common goal and make sure that when they get a new vendor that they get them into it, they explain how they run and show them and bring it in as part of their team, they would never succeed. It would be totally impossible to run IT like that. Yeah. But then it's not just the customer, but what about the MSPs who come to us or say that they want to bring this to their customer? What advice would you give to the
I think we have already repeated that twice here, but it's making your buyer a hero and thinking about really going through with them what are the things that the business is interested in, what they need reports on.
Yeah.
And I think there has been at least one customer case, and I think there is also a webinar about it, but customer came to us when they have been asked about giving a view of how support is doing.
Yeah.
And they understood that they had nothing.
Yeah.
Because this guy understood that they don't want to report how many incidents there were.
Yeah.
And he answered, I cannot say anything that would be interesting to the business.
Yeah.
And then their journey with us started. But it's and I think as an MSP, it's about going a bit further, like proactive service, not only looking at that I have delivered what I promised.
I was just about to bring the proactive word into the game. It's like as an MSP, if you want to be proactive, it doesn't mean that you try to pre-solve and self-serve and self-heal all the incidents to make incidents less, but actually being proactive, telling to your IT buyer, your customer's IT buyer, what needs to change, where we need to focus, and giving that from the experience point of view. Yeah. And then they can say the same message to the business side, again, making your IT buyer look good in front of the business stakeholders that they need to talk to. Yeah.
What their buyers.
Yeah. All right, but hey, I think that was the topic for today. And again, like we said, if you want to learn more go to the Learning Center. There's all these customer cases that talk more about how to practically do all this stuff. But hey, thank you, Sami.
Thank you, Pasi.
As we usually say in Happy 15, stay safe and stay happy.